Number 10 on our list is Donna Summer. Donna Summer was one of the biggest stars in the 70s, yet she had a good run in the 80s too. The Queen of Disco released 7 studio albums in this decade. Her album, She Works Hard for the Money, was released in 1983 and it was her most successful album of this decade. And its title track became one of the biggest hits of her career too. Other hits are The Wonder and This Time I Know It's For Real. Number 9 on our list is Bonnie Tyler. Tyler is known for her raspy vocals and smashing hits in the 80s. Bonnie Tyler released 4 studio albums in this decade. The most successful one was of course Faster Than the Speed of Night, released in 1983. Her biggest hits are Holding Out for a Hero from the musical hit film Footloose and Total Eclipse of the Heart that topped the charts with sales over 6 million copies. Number 8 on our list is Paula Abdul. Paula started her career as choreographer, creating choreographies for Janet Jackson, George Michael and others. She released only one album in this decade, but hear me out. Forever Your Girl has sold over 18 million copies worldwide. It's one of only 9 albums in the world to have 4 singles top the Billboard Hot 100 chart: Straight Up, Cold Hearted, Forever Your Girl and Opposites Attract. Number 7 on our list is Olivia Newton-John. Olivia continued to have a lot of success in the 80s too. She released 4 studio albums in this decade. Biggest one was the iconic Physical from 1981 and eventually became the biggest female album released that year with sales over 10 million copies. The song Physical ultimately became Olivia Newton-John's biggest hit and cemented her legacy as a pop superstar, topped the Billboard Hot 100 chart and stayed there for 10 weeks straight. Number 6 on our list is Eurythmics, the British pop rock duo with the lead star vocalist of Annie Lennox. In this decade, they released 7 studio albums. Their 80s work has sold over 75 million records worldwide. Their biggest albums are Sweet Dreams and Touch, and their biggest hit songs are some of the most popular songs in this decade. Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, Here Comes the Rain Again, Would I Lie to You and others. Number 5 on our list is Janet Jackson. Dance Queen released 4 studio albums in this decade, biggest one being Control and Rhythm Nation 1814 with sales of 10 and 12 millions respectively. 4 singles from Rhythm Nation topped the charts. Her biggest hits in this decade are Iconic Nasty, When I Think of You, What Have You Done For Me Lately and others. Number 4 on our list is Tina Turner. The Queen of Rock and Roll had a colossal comeback in this decade and her album Private Dancer from 1984 with sales over 20 million copies, becoming one of the biggest female albums of the year. Break Every Rule and Affair and Affair were also successful. Her biggest hits in this decade are What's Love Got to Do With It, Simply the Best, We Don't Need Another Hero, Let's Stay Together and many others. Number 3 on our list is Cyndi Lauper. Lauper is one of the most recognizable and iconic artists of the 80s. She released 3 studio albums, biggest one being of course her 1983 She's So Unusual that has sold over 16 million copies. True Colors was also successful. Iconic Cyndi songs from this decade are Girls Just Wanna Have Fun, True Colors and her number 1 song Time After Time. All 3 are some of the most popular songs in this decade. Number 2 on our list is Whitney Houston. Whitney was the most successful female African-American artist of the decade, creating milestones for black female artists. Her album from 1985 was sold 30 million copies, becoming the biggest female album of the 80s. Her second album was sold between 22 and 25 million copies. She scored 7 consecutive number 1 hit singles in this decade. That's more than any other artist in history. I Wanna Dance With Somebody, How Will I Know, Greatest Love of All, Saving All My Love For You being her biggest hits in this decade. Number 1 on our list is of course Madonna. Madonna is without question the most successful female artist in this decade. She released 4 studio albums in the 80s, Like a Virgin and True Blue with sales of 21 and 25 million copies, became biggest albums in that year respectively. She scored 7 number 1 hit singles. Some of the biggest hits are Like a Virgin, Like a Prayer, Express Yourself, Material Girl, La Isla Bonita, Papa Don't Preach, Open Your Heart and many others. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe, follow me on my Instagram account and support our channel by becoming a patron on Patreon, and with a bunch of rewards help us creating together a great content with your favorite artists. Bye!